Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you so much for choosing us to be with part of your day. Time for your garden questions, our garden answers. If you got a question, send it on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or you can give us a call at toll-free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Also, if you do choose to go the email avenue and you are capable of doing such, please include a photograph. It will make the identification and the solution to your situation a little easier on our end. Had questions come in here, Holly? Let's go with this one. What is BT and what is it used for? I continue to see those abbreviations.
So BT is Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT, and this is a naturally occurring bacteria, and people use it as pesticides for pests. And what it does is for pests that attack the gardens. So what it does is it's typically used for caterpillars or soft-bodied insects, even like the cabbage looper, things like that. And you can these are annoying pests in the garden. The cabbage looper eats the cabbage. Certain caterpillars will eat leaves right down to the veins, right? Things like that. So it's naturally occurring bacteria. It's used as a natural pesticide, and you can use it for its granules, sprays, even like plant dunks, things like that.
Well, yes, powder is good. But a spray application, if you do have a severe infestation of fill in the blank, a spray is better because you can get that up under the leaf. That's where most of your problems are going to begin, is under the leaf, where it's shady. That's where eggs are going to lay. That's where insects are going to hang out until the cooler part of the day. And a powder just doesn't work so well trying to shake it upwards.
No, powder is a little too fights gravity a bit too much.
Yeah,
it has no way to stick to the plant.
So proper material for a proper problem, and follow the directions. Just because it's natural doesn't mean more is better. Follow the instructions. That's why they're there. You can cause problems by adding too much of a natural thing as well.
If a little is good, a lot must be the best.
That is incorrect. Don't say that. You can't know.
No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay, why are the skins of my tomatoes so tough?
So it turns out that certain hybrid tomatoes, or a lot of hybrid tomatoes, do have a tendency to have tougher skin. Also, the smaller the tomato, the more likely you are to have tougher skin. So like cherry tomatoes versus beefsteak, just because of how their chemical makeup is, essentially. So that's another reason. Now, things like climate changes in your own backyard, maybe you had a lot of rain and then it stopped raining,
or you had a tree that wasn't there as in full last year as it is now, and shady, and it takes a longer time for the tomato to ripen. That can cause the skin to be tougher.
Right. Yeah. So that's another issue as well, or another problem.
And when we say climate change, we don't mean that, whatever you think is whatever you think. We're
talking about the climate change in your backyard.
Right. Shade versus sun. Something has encroached on it. You built an addition on the house that you didn't have last year, and there's a shady area that wasn't there, and you still plant like there's not. That type of...
Or you cut down a tree.
Cut down a tree, yeah.
Things like that. But also, I feel like, personally, we've had more rain this July than we have in other Julys.
But in certain parts, certain parts of the country, in other places, it has rained and then just shut off.
Right. But I mean, for us, so that could be occurring for you, and that could cause any plant to grow a little bit differently. Well, even if you do water consistently.
Right. Grandpa always says in the summer, you're 10 days away from a severe drought at any given time.
I believe it.
Yep. So this is my first time growing in containers. I was told to fertilize mid-season, and I did that. Do I need to replenish the soil next spring?
So, whoever, I can't remember who asked me this question. They want to know if they had to dump out the soil, the container soil, and then get new soil. And I said, you don't have to do that. They're about 5-gallon bucket size. Yeah.
So it depends on the size of the container. If you're looking at a 1 gallon grow bag or a little terracotta pot, yes. If you're looking at a 5 gallon grow bag, 5 gallon bucket, 10, 15, et cetera, not necessary or less necessary. What you can do is, let's go with a 5 gallon bucket because that's what the initial question was referring to. You can take out the top half of that bucket or the top third of that bucket. There's still nutrient in that soil, but you can replenish the top portion, and some of that's going to decrease. I don't know where the soil goes, but in these containers, you can top it off, and by the end of the season, you're down 4 inches. You can take a third of that soil out of that 5 gallon bucket, put it in your compost pile, bring in a new batch of 1/3 top of that soil, and you can mix it in and then plant. We don't have to dispose of the whole container. That is a wasteful amount of soil. That is expensive amount of wasteful soil. So about 1/3 is about all you need to do. And the larger your containers, now let's say you got a Rootmaker grow bag that's 60 gallons from rootmaker.com. You can use coupon code ROOT24 to save 15% off your order. You're feeling that's a 12-inch high by 36-inch across container, grow bag. You don't need to dump any of that out. There's such a volume of soil. Because there's so much soil there's so many more nutrients and micros and bugs and worms. Don't add worms to your containers. Worms will naturally come in the soil, in the compost, worm eggs. So the larger your container, if you're using big grow bags, I've seen grow bags of 100 gallons. You don't have to do anything to that. Now, it is smart to use an organic fertilizer at the time of planting and do the proper amount in the hole at the time of planting. That's not going to hurt anything. But you don't have to waste your soil by just dumping it out.
Yeah, definitely. So the next question is my coworker told me that I need to trim my Brussels sprouts so that they grow better in the fall. I'm not really sure what that means, but when do I do that and how? Okay,
we're getting into that portion of the year where your Brussels sprouts should be getting some pretty good girth on them, vertical and horizontal. They should be really shrubbing out. About 45 days when you intend to harvest, or when you begin to see the tiny little sprouts begin to develop at the juncture of the stalk and the stem, the armpit, let's say, that is the time in which you want to top your Brussels sprout plants. What does that mean? Go down 6 inches from the top of your plant, take a shears or a scissors or a knife and just cut it off. You're going to stop vertical growth, and you're going to cause the plant to go in more of a stress situation in a good way. It's going to develop these sprouts. It's not going to work on keep growing taller. It's going to work on got to develop the sprouts. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to have very lovely, large golf ball size in most instances between large marble and golf ball size sprouts. Now, as they get lower to the ground, you're going to get smaller ones, but and it's also based on your variety too. But topping all your plants, when you start seeing that little bump between the stalk and the limb, that's the time in which you should top your Brussels sprouts. And we've done that year after year and had phenomenal Brussels sprouts in our garden.
Yeah, we have. And it's a really great method, and I fully support it.
Well, Holly, with that being said, we have run out of time, and it's time to discuss what we learned today.
So I learned that calcium helps with the root production of your plants. I didn't know that. And so I like knowing that it helps the root production.
I learned what a humane gardener was from our guest Nancy at Humane Gardener, one that takes care, and we talked a little bit about this in the second segment, takes care of the animals in your area. What we learned today is brought to you by Honey Bee Healthy.
Honey Bee Healthy is serious about the business of bees and helping beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Whether you're a professional beekeeper or a bee hobbyist, we've got the products to help you maintain a healthy hive. Visit honeybeehealthy.com. Their products are made in the USA.